Hey everybody, guess what? We are live today. We're here to talk about Trails Please. Although today might not be the best day to be outside, but it's going to be better the rest of the week. I have Glenn with me. How's it going this morning?
It's going great. Thank you, Donna.
Let's talk about Trails Please. It's a really cool concept. I think people will be interested in that. Can you tell me more about Trails Please?
Yeah, so Trails Please. Boy, I don't even know where to begin on this one. I've been a photographer, graphic designer, and video director here in Nashville for 26 years. And I've been working on these side projects, and one of just doing some documentaries. And my latest one that I'm working on is called Trails Please. Trail Mix, all these trails. And Trail Mix is really about the Appalachian Trail. And I was fascinated by these, what they call through hikers, that are people that are really quitting their jobs and hiking the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail on the West Coast and spending 6-7 months of their life out there in the woods. And it didn't really make sense to me because I wasn't a hiker. I wasn't really a big backpacker. I mean, I hiked a little bit, but not overnight things. And so I was on a mission to meet people. And so I went out there and started hiking with a big backpack that was too big, and did some interviews with some people, and it was absolutely amazing. And fast forward, I finished filming the piece, but what I learned when I was out there is that it was just the most calming experience I've ever had. I've actually now hiked from Georgia to Maine in sections. It's taken 2 years to do it, and in at the same time doing all this filming too with it. But what I found afterwards is there was just such a calming that happened after that. And one of the parts of the film is about how people are hiking these trails and fixing themselves, in a sense. There's no other better way to say it, but it's, at that time I realized I just kept saying, nature heals, nature heals. And it wasn't until later, I'll fast forward more, and then my mom was sick, and we had to take her out of her house here in the neighborhood, put her into assisted living. And it just was a bad experience. The assisted living facility was awesome, but it was when she got even sicker and had to go into nursing care. And it was at that point that I realized I loved all these senior citizens. I really was having such a blast. They do their puzzles, and it's like, they just need people, and so I saw my mom every day, and it was very eye-opening because I realized then that all these seniors sitting around, the outdoors to them is sitting by their window and looking out the window. Right. Or if they're lucky enough, to wheel them to the front door and let them observe the parking lot, and it's like you can hear the traffic on one of the streets. And I don't know, I just, it was such a huge loss. My mom passed away April 1st of last year. So right in the beginning of COVID. And I just realized then, it's like what she needed is what all these other seniors need too. As simple as even holding their hand. I mean, I was amazed at how little, I would say the word passion. I mean, it was just, a lot of these seniors were craving affection, were craving something. And it's like, some of them don't have kids visiting them. Some don't have, maybe once a year. And so I just started taking all this in, and I realized, well, why don't I do something about that? And I thought, I don't want to charge a facility to say, hey, can I take your seniors out into nature? Right. And then I thought, well, it needs to be even beyond that, because I can't, what do I do? Just take them out there and say, okay, let's go back. So I wanted to create kind of a curriculum, and I've kind of, through all these years and boards that I've been on and things that I've done with music and therapy and some other clients, I just realized that I can do this with all the assets and all the connections that I have. And so it was actually at the end of 2019, I started a Trails Please Foundation, really with a mission that I was going to focus more on military vets and prison systems, because I thought that I wanted to bring nature into these. There was a need for it in that. And I think it was after a year, I realized it wasn't working, and then COVID happened, and then it was like I wanted to find my sweet spot for this charity, because I was already starting to get donations from people without even asking, and I wanted to make sure that this was being done correctly. I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to step out there and put my name on something, I just want to make sure that it's done right, But I didn't know what else to do, and so I really have been speaking. My attorney has been my number one connection. I mean, I pay for it, but at least he helps me with the bookkeeping, because we're pretty guerrilla right now. We're now expanding. We've got 2 new board members, so we've added 2. But to fast forward, once my mom passed away and I realized I need to do something, the prison system part of the charity was a little bit more difficult. And I thought, I'm just going to go. I had this idea, and I talked to an assisted living place here in Franklin, ran it by them, and they said, absolutely, we love it. The fact that I'm providing them, the seniors, backpacks and Yeti mugs and a fleece jacket and things. And I've integrated music therapy into this too, along with nature walk. We've got an educator there who is part therapist, really reteaching people how to breathe and how to, when you're out there in the woods, it's pretty amazing to just listen. And that's part of it, is just being quiet and listening. But it was fun, because we had an event 2 weeks ago, and it was just absolutely fascinating. What I love about this is that we get different types of people every single time. We've got some seniors don't want to be there or don't know the process or know what it is, and some are just excited to be out. And so that was the experience. But at the very end of it, every single person there wanted to help and be a part of it. And I'll close with this. It was kind of a cool thing. There was one of the participants, his name was Carl, and he actually is from an assisted living home in Brentwood. And his daughter brought him, and I think she's 62. And it was just one of these moments that it was just perfect. I didn't know in the beginning if they were liking it or not. And afterwards they came up and said it was absolutely fantastic. And so I did an interview with both of them. And this interview made everything worth it. When I interviewed Carl, so I think he's in his late 80s, he started crying during one of my questions. And I realized then, it's like, oh my God, I can actually affect people in this too. This is not just, hey, here's a backpack, here's this. We're going a little bit deeper. And, I'm setting it up in a way that we can do it more. And if he wants to do it a second time, we've got a different type program for that. It'll be a little more advanced. But the other part of that day that made it so special, in addition to Carl, was his daughter. She was listening to my interview when I was talking to him, and she said, I actually learned 3 things about my dad I never knew. And
wow.
Here she's 62 years old, and it's like, wow, so this Trails Please Foundation, it is about nature. It's about nature heals. I mean, that's, in a nutshell, that's what it is. But it's kind of giving a chance to a lot of these seniors that really don't even have a chance or an opportunity to get out there. And then it also creates cherished moments, as we're calling it, because we're setting it up that possibly the senior is always there with either a son or a daughter, because I want them to be holding hands. My last pictures of my mom were us sitting in the sun at the one facility. I was able to go into the courtyard and just held her hand, and people need that. My whole family's in California, so a lot of the people hadn't seen her, and my mom, in 6 years, 7 years. So this little video that I shot of her and these pictures that I created as a celebration of life video became kind of the core of what I'm doing now. It's just because this is what other families need. And,
right.
There's no other I don't even know why I'm doing this. I mean, I love it, but I'm saying, when you wake up and it's like, I'm a designer. Oh, I know. I'll start a charity today. It was just kind of an odd moment. And I don't know. It's been an adventure. And since we haven't even really announced the mission or this charity yet until we're utilizing tomorrow as kind of the big announcement day for it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Tomorrow's the Big Payback. So many local charities are taking advantage of that. You also have signed up to take advantage of that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was exciting. The funny thing is I signed up last year, but of course it was during COVID. And I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if I'm at an age where I really just want to do things that I truly believe in. I don't want to just do something if it's just for money or if it's just to take time. I don't know. I mean, the outdoors has become such a big part of my life. And when I heard about Big Payback last year, and I believe that I submitted to enter for it, and we just weren't ready. There's a reason for everything. If you're not going to be accepted for something, there's probably a reason for it. And it wasn't because the mission was not correct or it was the wrong cause. It was we just weren't ready. And there was a lot going on. And I think also with my mom being sick, and I caregived for her all last year during this, or the year before that. And it just kind of took everything out of me. So Big Payback represents to me a big, it's a moment of acceptance. I don't know the best way to say it. It feels to be a part of this campaign and to be looked at seriously, and especially knowing now that we can affect lives, it just feels pretty cool. I didn't know we'd ever be a part of it, and here we are. So
yeah, that's happening tomorrow. That's such an incredible mission. I can tell you're very passionate about it. I think during COVID, I think some of our older generation, those in the nursing homes, unfortunately, to keep them safe, they had to shut those down and not allow visitors. So I think this is probably coming at a good time for everybody so they can get outside, join with their family again, and have those opportunities.
Yeah. It's funny when you do something or you start a business. So I've been a business owner for 26 years, and you're very protective of the things that you do, the style that you do, or how you do certain things. In the beginning, when I started this working with the charity, with the seniors, I was like, I was trying to be protective. It's like, because we've got a lot, it's like baking a cake. I've got a lot of ingredients in this thing. It's really not just taking to a farm. In fact, to the point that how do I best say this? There's an artist, Amy Grant, who's a Christian artist, who is one of she and her husband Vince are the most amazing philanthropists I've ever met. And I was able to speak to Amy Grant about this, and I told her what I was doing, and at that time was looking for the perfect farm or property to do this at. And she offered her farm. And so we've been doing it there, and she's hosting it so this has been hosted at Amy Grant's farm. She sat in with us on the last session. It was pretty cool. It just needs to be done. And I think when all the pieces fall together, from the farm to how we're providing the food to even sponsorships, and then on top of it all, I've been kind of wearing all the hats on this, trying to get this thing going. And the girl Marcia, who was with her dad Carl at the last event, she actually has so much passion about this. She's now a big part of this thing. So she's actually going to become a bigger part of the charity. And I thought, what greater compliment can exist other than having somebody go through the program and say, I have to be a part of this. So that felt really good. And I don't know if that answered your question.
That's great.
I roll around. So
I think you've given us a lot of information. You guys, please go check it out. The website again is trailsplease.com. .org.
Yeah.
Trailsplease.org. And tomorrow, that's your chance to give back to all these great, incredible local charities to do things like Glenn has just told us about.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be back a little bit later today, and we're going to be talking about American Idol. And hopefully we're going to have our contestant local who's no longer on the show. She's supposed to meet up with us today. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Thanks again, Glenn. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.